Have you ever had a moment that was supposed to be your shining day, only for someone you trusted to tear it apart out of pure spite? I'm talking about my high school graduation, the day I dreamed of for years, completely wrecked by my own sister, someone I thought had my back, because she couldn't handle seeing me in the spotlight for once. This isn't just a petty family spat. It's a gut-wrenching story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the fight to reclaim a memory that was stolen from me. Stick with me as I unpack the raw pain of that day, the simmering resentment that nearly broke our family, and the unexpected way I turned a ruined moment into something unforgettable. I've been carrying this hurt for years, wrestling with anger and love for someone who's supposed to be my closest ally. By the end, I'm going to need your help to figure out if I can truly let go of this grudge, or if some wounds just don't heal. Let's dive into this messy, emotional ride, from the betrayal that shattered me to the strength I had to dig deep to find. My name's Ethan, and I'm 25 now, sitting in my tiny apartment in Austin, Texas, where the heat outside mirrors the slow burn of unresolved feelings I still carry. This story takes me back to 2016, when I was 18, a nervous high school senior in a small town called Round Rock, just north of Austin, counting down to a graduation I thought would be my ticket to freedom. The heart of this tale is the devastating moment when my older sister, Lauren, out of sheer jealousy, sabotaged my big day, leaving me humiliated in front of everyone I cared about. The emotional conflict tearing me apart is the clash between the deep love I've always had for Lauren, who was my protector growing up, and the searing anger over her betrayal, a wound that's made me question if family really means unconditional support. The unexpected twist came months later, when I learned her jealousy wasn't just about my graduation. It was tied to a secret she'd been hiding about feeling like she'd failed in her own life, projecting that onto me. This all unfolds in Round Rock, Texas, from 2016 to 2018, and later in Austin from 2019 to 2023, a journey of hurt, reflection, and a desperate search for redemption. I grew up in Round Rock, in a modest neighborhood called Fern Bluff, where the streets are lined with cookie-cutter houses and the summer heat makes the asphalt shimmer. Back in 2016, I was a scrawny 18-year-old at Round Rock High School, not exactly popular but hardworking, scraping by with decent grades and a part-time job at a local Whataburger to save for college. My escape was dreaming about the future, sketching out plans in my notebook during lunch breaks under the bleachers, imagining a life beyond the monotony of suburban Texas. Lauren, who's 3 years older than me, was always the golden child in our family. Athletic, confident, the one who got straight A's without trying. She'd been my hero growing up, the one who'd scare off bullies in middle school or sneak me candy when mom wasn't looking. We'd spend hours in our backyard, the smell of barbecue from a neighbor's grill in the air, laughing over dumb inside jokes while kicking a soccer ball around, her teaching me tricks I could never quite master. But things shifted as we got older. By 2016, Lauren was 21, back home after dropping out of college in San Antonio, working odd shifts at a retail store, her spark dimmed by something I couldn't quite place. I'd catch her staring out the window of our ranch-style house, her face tight, while mom and dad tiptoed around her mood swings. I was too wrapped up in my own world to dig deeper, focused on graduation, which felt like my one shot to prove I wasn't just the quiet younger brother. I'd spent months planning for that day, saving up for a nice outfit, even practicing a speech in case I got picked for a small role in the ceremony. I'd walk past the high school's dragon mascot statue every morning, the Texas sun already blazing, picturing myself in that cap and gown, finally stepping into my own light. The disaster struck on June 3, 2016, the day of my graduation at the Round Rock Sports Center, a big arena where the air conditioning barely kept up with the crowd. I was 18, buzzing with nerves and excitement, adjusting my cap in the bathroom mirror at home, the faint smell of mom's hairspray lingering as I tried to look halfway decent. Lauren had been weirdly distant all week, snapping at me over nothing, but I brushed it off as her usual stress. I didn't see the storm coming. As I was getting ready to head out, she accidentally spilled a full glass of grape juice on my graduation gown, the purple stain spreading like a wound across the black fabric, her half-hearted oops barely hiding a smirk I'll never forget. I stood there, frozen in our cramped living room, the hum of the ceiling fan the only sound, feeling my chest tighten as years of anticipation crumbled in seconds. There was no time to fix it. Mom was frantic, Dad was furious, and I had to wear a stained gown to the ceremony, the sticky fabric clinging to me as I walked across the stage, hearing whispers and stifled laughs from the crowd. That night, back home after the ceremony, I sat on my bed in our shared hallway of a house, the distant sound of cicadas outside my window, staring at the ruined gown draped over a chair. Humiliation burned through me, hotter than the Texas summer, mixed with a rage I'd never felt toward Lauren. I'd seen her face during the spill, that flicker of satisfaction, and I knew it wasn't an accident. I'd spent years looking up to her, and now I felt like a fool, wondering how she could hate me enough to ruin the one day that was supposed to be mine. I avoided her for days after, barely speaking at the dinner table, the clink of silverware louder than any words, while Mom tried to play peacemaker and Dad just sighed, like this was just another sibling spat. But it wasn't. It was a betrayal that cut deeper than I could explain, leaving me questioning if I even knew her at all. Through the rest of 2016, still 18, I was a mess, working extra shifts at Whataburger, the smell of fryer grease clinging to me as I tried to save enough to move out, feeling trapped in a house where every corner reminded me of Lauren's smirk. I drive aimlessly after work, past the Dell Diamond baseball stadium, the lights glowing in the distance, replaying that day, wondering why she'd targeted me, if I'd done something to make her resent me. Memories of us as kids, building forts out of couch cushions in our living room, laughing until we couldn't breathe, clashed with the coldness I felt now, and I'd gripped the steering wheel tighter, torn between missing her and hating her. I started pulling away from the family, skipping Sunday barbecues at Brushy Creek Park, unable to fake smiles while the hurt festered, wondering if I'd ever feel safe with her again. By 2017, I was 19, starting community college in Austin, commuting from Round Rock to save money, living in a house that felt like a battlefield. Lauren was still there, working odd jobs, her mood swings worse, and I'd catch her watching me sometimes, her eyes unreadable, while I studied at the kitchen table, textbooks spread out under the harsh fluorescent light. I threw myself into school, trying to rebuild some pride after the graduation fiasco, but every achievement felt hollow, without someone to share it with. I'd walk along Lady Bird Lake on weekends, the Austin skyline shimmering across the water, thinking about how I'd planned to celebrate graduation with Lauren, maybe grabbing tacos at Torchy's, but now even the thought of her name stung. I started resenting her more, blaming her for stealing not just a day, but my trust, wondering if I'd ever stop feeling like the lesser sibling in her shadow. Graduation from community college came in May 2018, when I was 20, a smaller ceremony at Austin Community College, and I didn't even invite Lauren, telling Mom and Dad I wanted it low-key. I stood in the crowd of graduates, the Texas heat making my cap stick to my forehead, feeling a quiet victory, but also a pang of loneliness, wishing I could have shared it with the sister I used to know. Driving home through Round Rock's familiar streets, past the old water tower painted with the town's name, I felt a mix of relief and sadness, realizing how much her actions had changed me, made me guarded even with family. I moved into a cheap apartment in North Austin that fall, a cramped studio near I-35, the constant hum of traffic outside my window a reminder of my escape, but freedom didn't erase the ache of a bond I'd lost, leaving me wondering if I'd ever confront her, or if silence was safer. Through 2019 and 2020, I was 21 and 22, working as a barista in Austin while taking online classes for a marketing degree, trying to build a life in a city that felt both exciting and lonely. I'd sling coffee at a hip spot on South Congress, the smell of espresso grounding me, but every time I saw siblings laughing together in the shop, I'd feel a twinge of envy, thinking of Lauren. I'd visit Round Rock for holidays, sitting in our old living room with the same faded couch, keeping conversations with her short, her apologies, if they came at all, feeling forced. Memories of us driving to Zilker Park as teens, blasting music with the windows down, haunted me on those visits, and I'd wonder if she felt the same loss, or if jealousy had erased those good times for her. I started questioning if I was holding on to anger too tightly, or if letting go meant excusing what she did, a tug-of-war I couldn't resolve. The twist hit in late 2020, when I was 22, during a tense Thanksgiving at home in Round Rock, the smell of turkey and pecan pie filling the house as Mom finally pulled me aside. Under the dim kitchen light, while Lauren was outside smoking, Mom revealed the real reason behind her sabotage. Lauren had been struggling with depression after dropping out, feeling like a failure compared to me, who was moving forward with graduation and college. The grape juice wasn't just petty spite. It was her lashing out from a place of deep shame, seeing my success as a mirror to her perceived failures. I stood there, gripping the counter, the hum of the fridge drowning out my racing thoughts, stunned as anger mixed with pity. How could she not tell me she was hurting? Why punish me for her pain? I felt betrayed all over again, but now with a layer of guilt, wondering if I'd missed signs, if I could have helped her instead of pulling away. Through 2021, I was 23, back in Austin, processing this bombshell while working longer shifts, the city's live music scene on 6th Street a distraction, but not a cure. I'd walk along the Colorado River at dusk, the water reflecting the city lights, thinking about Lauren's hidden struggle, feeling torn between empathy and the raw hurt of her actions. I started seeing Round Rock differently on visits, the familiar H-E-B grocery store or the old high school feeling heavier with unspoken history, wondering if I'd been too quick to judge her or if her pain didn't justify mine. Memories of her cheering at my middle school talent show, even when I bombed, clashed with the graduation stain, and I'd sit in my apartment, the distant sound of a neighbor's guitar through the wall, questioning if I owed her a real talk or if I was still too raw to try. By 2022, I was 24, settling into a better job at a small marketing firm in Austin, my life feeling more stable with a nicer apartment near Zilker Park, the green space a place to clear my head. I'd jog there on weekends. The Texas heat still brutal, reflecting on how Lauren's jealousy had forced me to grow up faster, to rely on myself, but also left me wary of family ties. I reached out to her once, a hesitant text about meeting for coffee, sent from a quiet cafe on Lamar Boulevard, heart pounding as I waited for a reply that came hours later, a simple, maybe soon. We didn't meet, but it was a crack in the wall, and I'd stare out at the Austin skyline from my balcony, wondering if I was ready to rebuild or if I feared another betrayal. I started questioning if my anger was more about protecting myself than punishing her, a realization that unsettled me. Reflecting on this in early 2023, I was 25, spending quiet evenings in my apartment, the hum of Austin's nightlife faint outside, thinking about how Lauren's actions shaped me, made me tougher, but also colder. I'd recall Round Rock summers, us sneaking popsicles from the freezer, giggling on the porch as the sun set, now a memory tainted by distance, wondering if she regretted that day as much as I resented it. I drive through the hill country on weekends, the rolling landscapes a stark beauty, asking myself if I'd let her sabotage define too much of me, or if I'd started healing by focusing on my own path. Austin's eclectic vibe, the street art and food trucks, grounded me, but the unresolved tension with Lauren lingered, a shadow I couldn't outrun. By mid-2023, I'm 25, and my life feels on track. Decent job, good friends, weekend trips to places like Fredericksburg for wine tastings, but the past still tugs at me. Lauren and I have texted more, even met once for an awkward lunch at a diner in Round Rock, the smell of burgers and fries familiar as we danced around the graduation topic, sticking to safe ground like work and weather. I've seen hints of the old Lauren, a laugh here, a shared memory there, but trust feels fragile, like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I've thought about Mom's words, about Lauren's pain, wondering if I've been too hard on her, or if I'm right to guard my heart. Every time I pass the Round Rock Sports Center on drives home, the memory of that stained gown hits, and I question if I can ever fully let it go. The emotional weight of this unresolved rift hangs over me, even as Austin's vibrant energy, its festivals, its late-night taco runs, keeps me moving forward. I'd spend evenings at Barton Springs, the cool water a brief escape, thinking about how Lauren's betrayal stole more than a day. It stole my belief that family always lifts you up, leaving me cautious in ways I hate. I started avoiding deep talks with her, even in texts, keeping things light, unable to face the full weight of what happened, though every dodged topic made me wonder if I'm stalling healing or just protecting myself from more pain. I'd linger at South Congress at sunset, the quirky shops closing up, asking if I've been too slow to forgive or if rushing risks reopening old wounds. Reflecting on my past became a constant through late 2023, especially on quiet nights when I'd sit with a beer on my balcony, the city lights sprawling below, thinking about the sister who'd once bandaged my scraped knees, now shadowed by years of hurt. I'd recall the time we snuck out to see a midnight movie at the old Alamo Draft House in Round Rock, her daring me to be brave, a memory now bittersweet, wondering if she feels the distance, or if she's too ashamed to bridge it. I thought about my own pride, how I've built a life I'm proud of, now questioning if I failed her by not reaching out sooner, or if I've been too scarred to know how. Austin's endless energy, the way it pulses with possibility, challenged me to decide if I could fully let go of this pain, or if some fractures just stay. Now, as I sit here in my Austin apartment, the Texas night settling in with the distant sound of live music drifting from downtown and the faint glow of the city outside, I'm still wrestling with where to go from here. My life feels like it's on a solid path, with a career I enjoy and a city that's become home, but there's an ache where my unscarred bond with Lauren should be, a fracture I don't know how to mend completely. There are moments when I think about driving up to Round Rock for a real, no-holds-barred talk, maybe over coffee at a familiar spot like Star Company, seeing if we can finally lay this to rest. Then there's the part of me that wants to keep building on these small steps, Maybe invite her to Austin for a concert. But I'm scared of pushing too fast, of finding out we can't rebuild what we had. So, I'm turning to you, my listeners, because I'm at a crossroads and I can't see the right path ahead on my own. Do I dive deeper into rebuilding with Lauren, risk the hard conversations, and open myself up to understanding her pain, even if it means reliving my own hurt? Or do I keep this slow pace, protect myself, and let time do the healing, even if it means leaving some things unsaid? And what about forgiveness? Can I truly let go of what she did without an apology that feels real? Or should I accept that some hurts just linger? I've spent so long carrying this weight, trying to balance love with self-protection, but I don't know if I've got the strength to fully heal, or if I even should try. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this story hit close to home, and subscribe if you want to follow how this all plays out. I'm reading every single piece of advice, because right now, I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something huge, and I don't know which way to step. Thanks for listening to my mess, for being here through the highs and lows of this journey. I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, let me know, what would you do if you were me?